For over 40 years, Maternity Care Coalition has empowered parents as their children's first teachers. Through direct service, research, and advocacy, we strive for an equitable future where all families are healthy and connected, and where all children thrive and are ready to learn.
I've taken nutrition classes, breastfeeding classes.
Stay here is really amazing because they teach me how to raise him, how to be a good mom for his development. And this is really important for me.
I have been fortunate to work with a parent to deliver her baby, and it was the greatest experience that I've had since working here.
At Maternity Care Coalition, we know that having a baby is always a big deal. We envision a future where women don't die during childbirth, where men stand up for breastfeeding rights, and where all children have access to affordable, high-quality early education. Will you join us?
Good morning to all of you out there. This is a little different. As you know, I have been with you for the last 5 years there at the Bellevue and elsewhere, having a wonderful time with you. Of course, because of COVID, we have to do this differently this year, but my hope is that next year we will get to be back in community again. And as always, when they ask me, will you do this? I'm like, why are you even asking? You know that that is automatically on my schedule. And I think when you see videos like the one that you just saw, that's why, because I know that this organization is key to helping the many mothers out there who are equal to everybody else among us when it comes to loving their children and dreaming for their children, but they may not have the same resources. And it has been huge that this organization for decades now has been there for so many families, making that difference in those critical early years. Now, as you may know, over the last 40 years, MCC has worked with 140,000 families in southeastern PA, dismantling the inequities that many of them are facing and working to create an environment for each and every family that is safe and welcoming, where their babies and their young children can thrive. And you know, this work could not be done without your support. I look back, my boys, it's hard to believe. My 11-year-old, I think I've got about 2 inches on him at this point. My 8-year-old is at least midway through my chest. They're getting so big, but I can't help but always think back. I remember bringing Rocco home. That's the 11-year-old, and my sister came to see me. And I don't even know where those tears came from. I just looked at her and I said, how do I do this? Can I do this? Am I good enough to be his mother? And she said, you're meant to be his mother. You will intuitively know what this baby needs. And that I found has been true, but boy, did I have a lot of help. My mother came whenever I needed her to come. I was able to afford care. Baby nurse when I brought that second child home and was balancing a newborn and a toddler and needed to get a night's sleep. The ability to have a husband who could arrange his schedule so I could get up and go to work in the middle of the night. And these last few years, we were able to have an au pair. So it's that mix of having people to step up and to be able to afford your needs, some of your wants. And I recognize that that is the height of privilege, because there's so many mothers out there who want everything for their children, for them to have a safe environment, healthy food, but most importantly, they want to create that environment where they have the books, a safe crib, where they have the things that enrich their children, because in their minds, it is as it should be, that there's no limitation on where their children are able to go. But we know the financial constraints are an issue, certainly in these pandemic times. So many families going through so much. So you will hear today about the critical services that MCC provides, including home visits, and learn more about how staff and clients have dealt in this pandemic year. My goodness, all of us still making it work, but they more than most. So I'd like to thank you for joining Maternity Care Coalition and this celebration. Truly, it's a celebration. And to give you a deeper look at the essential work that MCC does for families, I need to introduce our brilliant and kind-hearted leader, a woman that I am honored to call my friend, the CEO of Maternity Care Coalition, Marianne Frey. Marianne, I'm coming back on because I think they're letting me know that we may have some sound issues. Can you double check and make sure that you are unmuted? Because I know what you're saying is so important. Okay, it looks as though they are working at this moment to get everything together with Marianne, who I see a sign, she's connecting to audio. We will hear her beautiful voice in just a minute. Oh, I hear sound.
Okay, can you hear me?
There we are. Pamela, thank you
Now
so
it is
much.
time.
Marianne, we hear you. Beautiful.
Okay, and Tamala, thank you so much. Tamala, thank you so much for carrying the load there for me. So, all right, we are here. So thanks again and good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Maternity Care Coalition's 17th Celebrating Mothers Brunch. Although I cannot physically see you, and hopefully now you can hear me, I can feel the excitement in our virtual room. And in my mind's eye, I can see all of your beautiful faces. And I'm grateful that each and every one of you took time out of your schedule to spend time with us today. Thank you. Now, as many of you know, Celebrating Mothers is MCC's signature event, traditionally held at the Bellevue, just as Tamala told us earlier. And from the moment you walk up those steps, you're warmly greeted by staff, given your name tags with personalized paddles to use during our exciting auction, and offered a delicious mimosa. Can you see and smell the gorgeous flowers perched on the center of each table? Can you hear the soft music performed by local artists as you greet old and new friends? Look at the images on the screen there to remind you of those sweet memories of celebrating mothers in 2020. Now, for so many of us, this was the last event we attended before the news broke in the United States that life as we knew it was going to change. These images remind me that while we are apart this year, we share something so warm and so special like last year. And someday we're going to return to that. But for now, I find immense joy in the fact that we are still connected by our shared purpose to bring about a more equitable future. This year, as challenging as it's been, has given MCC the opportunity to clarify our intended impact. MCC exists to ensure that parents in southeastern Pennsylvania impacted by racial and social inequities can birth with dignity, parent with autonomy, and raise babies who are healthy, growing, and thriving. Now, if I may, I'd like to repeat that and say it louder for all of you in the back of the ballroom, our virtual ballroom. MCC exists to ensure that parents in southeastern Pennsylvania impacted by racial and social inequities can birth with dignity, parent with autonomy, and raise babies who are healthy, growing, and thriving. And it takes every single one of us here today to make that happen. So before I share a little bit more about how MCC fared this past year, I want to first thank our main sponsors who helped make today's event possible. Our platform sponsor, Penn Medicine. And our champion sponsors, Einstein Healthcare Network, KPI Interface, Leanne Wagner and John Dent, Liza and Jonathan Seltzer, Pine Street Foundation, and Stacy and Leo Helmers. Thank you to each one of you for your support. So, I also want to thank MCC's incredible board of directors who generously give of their time, talent, and treasure to ensure MCC's sustainability. And we are very lucky to have two incredibly passionate and talented event committee co-chairs, Salima Pace and Julia Roosh, whom you'll hear from a little later. I want to thank you both for your leadership and vision. And last, but definitely not least, I want to personally thank the dedicated MCC staff team who bring their whole selves to work every day, who in a moment's notice transitioned from in-person services to remote work, and who focus on serving our clients no matter what. Thank you from the depths of my heart. So now, I'd like to share with you what's been going on at MCC since we last met. In 2 words, we focused and we were responsive. We focused on meeting our clients wherever they were, online, in parks socially distanced, in birthing centers when permitted, and at every turn. On March 16th, we decided to close MCC's offices for 2 weeks and soon realized that this would not be a temporary situation, but rather a new way of working. It was clear that regardless of the pandemic, babies would still be born and our clients would still need our services. Our staff rallied and we immediately began serving our 3,595 families virtually. That was our responsiveness. We partnered with numerous local and state organizations to provide emergency supplies, books, and toys. In 9 months, we provided 1,430 relief supply bundles, 900 cribs, including safe sleep education, and 450 tablets, which included 12 months of unlimited data. But supplies alone could not meet the growing needs of our families. Our clients shared that they felt more isolated than ever, facing job loss, increased barriers to healthcare, and additional childcare responsibilities as schools closed. MCC's advocates and teachers immediately got on their phones, their tablets, and computers and started virtual home visits to help bridge those gaps. MCC advocates describe client successes like learning new languages, children reaching new developmental milestones, and parents welcoming healthy babies into the world. I want to share a quote from one of our advocates who reflected on the situation as we entered into virtual service delivery. I quote, "In some cases, home visitors are the only support system clients have around. Our families are used to having us in their houses, giving them support, guidance, parenting education, and meaningful conversations. Isolation could add to their plate. Anxiety, depression, desperation, anger, and in some cases, violence. Therefore, having someone during this time checking on their well-being was so important," end quote. Now, we know that COVID-19 disproportionately affects people of color, and we are dying at rates significantly higher than any other ethnic group. We also know that these poor health outcomes are not because of individual behaviors, but impacted by something we call social determinants of health, conditions and environments that affect a wide range of health, such as economic stability, access to quality healthcare, education, and even the zip code you live in. And social determinants of health are fundamentally impacted by structural racism. Structural racism being that system of public policies, institutional practices, and cultural representations that reinforce and perpetuate racial inequity. There is a direct line from state-sponsored segregation under the New Deal in the 30s to Jim Crow in the post-Civil War era in the 50s and 60s, to what we see today, mass incarceration and systematic gentrification of communities, many of which our clients live in today. Most MCC clients are impacted by these persistent social and racial inequities, and raising babies in that environment through a global pandemic for as long as it's been has been almost more than many can bear. But as I said before, MCC staff and our client community focused on supporting each other through all of these challenges. We marched together in the spring and summer after George Floyd's and others' murders. We launched voting campaigns to inform community members of their rights. We held several town halls to collectively process our shared grief and anger, and we continue to do the work to bring about a more equitable future for everyone. Now, you might be asking, how does MCC plan to bring about this more equitable future? And we plan to do it with disciplined focus. It is clear, however, that we cannot do this work alone. We need each person in this virtual room to join us. You can begin by asking yourself, what is my part? How do we challenge the structures that create barriers to equity? It is only together as a united force that we will change what is broken in our communities. That is why I am encouraged by some of the partnerships we established with like-minded organizations this past year. And I want to highlight just 3 of them. The first one is a partnership with the PA Prenatal to 3 Collaborative, which is a public-private partnership with the Pennsylvania Governor's Office, Department of Health, and Department of Human Services. The collaborative includes representatives from over 50 organizations from across the state. And MCC participates across the coalition, but is leading the maternal health advocacy agenda, which aims to advance maternal health equity in Pennsylvania. The second partnership is a first of its kind. It's a collaboration between MCC and 2 design curators funded by the Pew Center for Arts and Heritage called Designing Motherhood, a century of making and unmaking babies. This innovative project uniquely centers the voice of MCC clients and shines a light on the history and contemporary conversations around reproduction, reproductive justice, maternity, and childbirth. I encourage you to learn more about the project at Designing Motherhood on their Instagram account. And finally, a soon-to-be announced pilot partnership between MCC and a nonprofit society I helped found before joining MCC called Women of Color in Pharma, or WOSIP. WOSIP brings together women of color in the pharma and life sciences industry to promote their personal and professional development. And this year, WOSIP and MCC will embark on a 1-year professional development journey for a select group of MCC middle managers through the organization's foundation arm. The WOSIP Foundation focuses on creating sustainable solutions to address inequities in communities of color. We expect this cross-pollination of industry and community advocates to provide value for both organizations. And talking about partnerships, it is now my distinct honor to introduce another incredible partner and advocate for justice, this year's Strengthening Families honoree, Pennsylvania State Representative Morgan B. Cephas. Representative Cephas serves the 192nd District in Philadelphia and is a native of West Philadelphia and a proud product of the Philadelphia public school system. Morgan has worked tirelessly in the public sector, building her community block by block. She has worked to reverse the trend of maternal mortality, expand financial relief for childhood expenses, care expenses, and to bring dignity for incarcerated women. The recipient of numerous awards, Representative Cephas embodies what it means to strengthen families and inspire change. And we are so honored to present her with this year's MCC Strengthening Families Award. Please join me in welcoming my friend and Pennsylvania State Representative, Morgan C. Cephas. Welcome, Morgan.
Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. As you can see, I am up in Harrisburg, and believe it or not, we are hearing testimony from the Department of Health. And when we talk about health equity across the Commonwealth, especially in the Southeastern region, I am so honored and just happy to have organizations like Maternity Care Coalition, really lead the way on not just changing policy, but ensuring that resources are invested in our communities and ensuring that pregnant and parenting individuals and people are a priority for this Commonwealth. I cannot thank you enough for this honor today. You've literally held my hand throughout this entire process of being a state rep. You've helped me move the needle on issues like maternal mortality, as well as in increasing access to childcare, and also, working alongside organizations like yourself have helped me move the needle to ensure that we are giving dignity to incarcerated women. You've truly helped me to understand that maternal health issues are economic issues. If we don't make the right adjustments, across our system, dealing with the social determinants of health, access to quality care, access to affordable care, you will see more and more our families not be able to rebound economically when we come out of this pandemic. And it is you that is leading the way, not just holding the hands of elected officials and policymakers, but again, holding the hands of our families to help them make it through this difficult time. And speaking of difficult times, we all know the statistics. Our communities have been challenged before COVID-19, and only when you add on COVID-19, you're only exacerbating the issue. It's sad to say that we've seen statistics recently released from the National Women's Law Project that close to 2.2 million women have left the workforce due to either increased requirements on childcare or lack of access to childcare, or simply just being a caregiver or having added pressures in their home life. Additionally, we know that women are contracting the virus at a higher rate than other populations. So, simply because they are our frontline workers, they are our heads of households, they are still, in our workforce, still trying to, make ends meet to survive throughout this pandemic. But last but not least, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania just really released a maternal mortality report that shows that our mortality rates are still increasing. And if you can just envision our families, with the added pressure of COVID-19, having to deal with isolation. So just imagine the increase to postpartum depression. Or you think of trying to navigate a healthcare system, trying to access testing or access the vaccine when we know pregnant and parenting people were not in most of our clinical trials when it came to Moderna or the Pfizer vaccine or even Johnson & Johnson. Additionally, we've seen so many people have to alternate their birthing plans, not being able to bring their support systems into the hospital rooms with them. So, with all of these things, it's really helpful to have organizations like the Maternity Care Coalition to really, again, to advocate on so many people's behalf. But I think in this crisis, we do have a unique opportunity, and it's going to take voices like this organization and all those that I'm talking to today to really envision a healthcare system that really puts families first, whether that be, again, making healthcare more affordable and accessible, whether that be increasing the minimum wage, really tackling the issue of pay equity, expanding access to childcare. There's a laundry list of things that we can do to help build back better, as our new president says. When it comes to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I'm just so fortunate to be able to work alongside the Maternity Care Coalition to help get this work done. I know we don't see an end to COVID-19 yet, but I'm encouraged with the work that this organization does. And I will forever just be grateful, Mary Ann, for you just holding my hand throughout this entire process, for being my silent cheerleader out in the Southeast. And I am just grateful and fortunate just for your work and just for this honor. It is a big body of work, and I'm just hoping that I can do all that I can do at my seat at the table to advance policies that will help protect our families. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm looking forward to today's discussion.
Well, congratulations, Representative Cephas,
Thank
on
you.
this much deserved honor. And I just want to say thank you so much for your steadfast commitment to putting families first, always. Hello out there. My name is Sarah Jan, and for those of you who don't know me, I am the Director of Policy and Advocacy here at Maternity Care Coalition. And importantly, I'm also the mother of a 5-year-old Casper and an almost 2-year-old Eve. And I'm really excited to be here today with the representative and our Celebrating Mothers co-chair, Salima Pace, to talk about how, as advocates, we are working together on behalf of moms, babies, and families. But before we go any further, Salima, could you please introduce yourself and speak a little bit about how you became involved with MCC?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. I am so blessed to be here, to be just the whole full circle. I spoke last year. I was a recipient of Mom-Mobile. That's how I remember it. My son now will be 15 in a week. And I remember how Maternity Care Coalition wrapped their arms around me, how they provided me with a support system that I didn't have. And to be sitting here today as a leader of a large organization in the city, as a partner with Representative Cephas, as a partner with Maternity Care Coalition, as a partner with She Can Win, I am just so blessed and so inspired to continue to work, to continue to advocate, to continue to make sure that programs like MCC stay around. So again, I am a product. I am a person who had the love, who had the services, who had the resources, that is now sitting here in front of you today, truly living her dream. So thank you.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Salima. We do only have a short time here today, so I want to jump right in with a question for you, Rep. Cephas. Can you speak about some of the current challenges families in our region are facing? I know you did in your speech, but if you could kind of sum it up again, that would be awesome.
Again, Sarah, we have been trying to tackle issues that we are tackling today long before COVID-19. And again, when you have what we're going through with this pandemic, it's really only shown the cracks, across our system, and just how much birthing people are just not supported in our healthcare systems. So again, when I talk about maternal health issues being economic issues, I'm talking about families being able to access affordable healthcare as well as childcare. I mean, I'm talking about individuals being able to access a quality wage, individuals being able to access quality education, or the challenges that we're having around maternal mortality. Recently, the Department of Health has issued a report to look at our rates. And unfortunately, we're going into the wrong direction. We're up around 12%. Additionally, 40% of maternal mortality deaths are due to poisoning. Poisoning that can deal with, that references drug overdoses. So, and majority of those deaths are happening during our postpartum period. So when you add a pandemic to someone dealing with postpartum, I mean, you're adding forced isolation, you're adding the pressures of being able to trying to navigate to find a test, let alone a vaccine, has been difficult. But then also the fact that birthing people have not been included in vaccination testing in the trials with any of the vaccines that have come online, that creates an additional barrier, and it almost is discrimination. And the statistics are showing that pregnant individuals that contract the virus tend to go to the ICU at a higher rate. So we have significant challenges, again, that have existed before COVID-19. But again, we should use this opportunity to elevate these discussions. And as we get resources from the federal government, we need to take this opportunity to build a healthcare system, to build an ecosystem, a city, a commonwealth that, really puts families first. And, those are just some of the challenges that our families are dealing with. And just know that we'll all get through this together, and organizations like MCC need to be at the table to, really explain what our on the ground families are dealing with. So those are some of the things we're dealing with. And again, we'll get through this together.
I really love that you're able to sort of capture the challenges, but also highlight the opportunity that we have right now to work on both the challenges that we're facing as a result of the pandemic, but also the challenges that were there long before the pandemic. And so I have a question for you both. What do you see as particularly hopeful moving forward? And are there things being done currently that you feel are moving us in the right direction? So maybe for this one, Salima, I'll start with you.
No problem. And again, Morgan, like you said, everything you're saying and the passion behind it, we have to partner, we have to work together. And one of the hopeful things that I do see is that people are willing to help their neighbor. There are a lot of giving circles popping up. I know that She Can Win. We have a giving circle here at 1199C. Everyone's trying to figure out some solution to this. So with having so many people working on this, kind of big problem together, it's very hopeful. And us continuing to have this conversation. And again, I'm so grateful that MCC is bringing this on this platform to say, hey, what are some hopeful things? And then, Representative Cease saying, hey, we need to partner. So with me sitting on so many tables, that's what my hope is that I can be a connector to make it make sense, for us to partner and for us to say, hey, MCC has this resources, this group has this resource, and let's get it to the people who need it. Because honestly, the head of households are Black and brown, are women. Mm-hmm. I take color and take race out of it. Head of households are women, and they need sustainable jobs. They need sustainable wages. And that was a big reason why, I'm a labor leader, because we want to, we put better into the community when it comes to jobs. And unfortunately, with COVID, with all the poverty, so the balance here in our city, we have to get more down to the micro level. We have to partner, and we have to have those resources kind of rain down, as they would say. But we also have to, again, support fundraisers like this with MCC. That's why I'm like, anytime y'all ask me to come speak, do whatever I have to do, I'm here because it's so important, because the work y'all do, again, is so important. I am a product of the work. And if I can put my face on a billboard that says, I'm a product of this, donate, I want to continue to do that. So I'm very hopeful because MCC is still around.
Thank you, Salima. Rep. Cephas, how about you? What do you see as particularly hopeful, and what's currently being done that's moving us in the right direction?
So what's interesting? As a result of COVID-19, mm-hmm. the government has found so much money to do so many things. So many things that we've literally been fighting for, so many things that Salima has been fighting for at 1199C. The fact that before COVID-19, we weren't paying, her members, equitable wages, and that she has to fight for hard contracts at hospitals. Now our entire world relies on the work that her members do. Mm-hmm. When you look at things like that, and we can expand Medicaid, keep, parenting mothers on Medicaid up to a year postpartum. We're doing that. We found money for childcare services. We are finding money for lead remediation. We've just Some people actually are earning more money on unemployment than they were in their current jobs. So it's not that government can't fix their problems. It's just, is it a priority? The fact that there's discussion about raising the minimum wage and, the recent bills that's happening on the federal level. It's, we have the ability to do these things. It's just a question of will, and will it be a priority? And I think, again, every crisis, we got to look at it as an opportunity. And I think, it's an opportunity right now for us to examine, what does the world look like post COVID-19, where we're funding all of the things that we're funding. We're paying people an equitable wage. We're treating healthcare workers as our frontline workers and, those that we rely on. We're putting families back to work with, family sustaining wages. We are treating people with dignity in our healthcare system. We're prioritizing families right now in COVID-19 because we understand that there's a need. But the question is, will we have that same empathy when we come out of this? So as much as, it's difficult to look beyond COVID-19, but some of the things that we've just miraculously been able to do has just amazed me. And it's just like, okay, well, how do we, those are always my questions when it comes to being on appropriations committee. Mm-hmm. Things that you are funding right now to, hold up your system and protect the people that you're serving. How are we building it in our budgets as we move forward to keep this going? So we can't go back to the society we were living in, because so many families were falling through the cracks.
It's interesting, Rep. Cephas, I read an interview with a fancy budget person, and they said, don't tell me what you value, show me your budget, and I'll tell you what you value. Absolutely. And so I think you're really hitting the mark there around what we're doing now and how we need to keep building on that.
And that the fact that equity is now the new buzzword is fascinating. But, we've had these challenges for a very long time. I'm glad people are finally catching up, that Black and Brown communities are disproportionately impacted. Women are disproportionately impacted by a lot of the policies that are on the book. So again, post COVID-19, we still need to have an expectation that this is going to be a priority.
And I think a huge part of the reason we're starting to see this focus is because we're starting to see better representation in elected officials. And so still not where we need to be. However, Salima, I want if you could answer this question by maybe speaking a little bit about your work with She Can Win. Tell me a little bit about that work and why it's so important to you.
She Can Win it's been amazing for me, because I honestly didn't know what I was getting into. And I was like, oh, I'm with a bunch of cool women that look like me, that have, these big time jobs. So, but getting into it, it is real work. It is real change. It is taking people, again, that look like me, who may not normally have that opportunity, and saying, hey, we can offer some support, we can offer access, and we can offer dollars to you to help give you that normal advantage. That and it's so crazy that the things that we are providing are things that should be around a person who has the zeal, the passion to want to run for office, but they just don't have it. So my work that I do with She Can Win, it fills me up. And with us adding additional components like the giving circle, and being able to, during the pandemic, give some other Black and Brown women who are doing the mission out here to protect Black women, to protect Black and Brown women, and to offer them services that they would not normally have, is everything for me. It's really everything for me. I am very blessed to be a part of that table at She Can Win.
That's awesome. It's incredible. Right now, our audience here today is full of maternal and child health and early learning advocates. So I would say, starting with you, Rep. Cephas, what would you say to them, and what's one thing they could do today to get started in being an advocate and making change in their community?
So I think, great question. We're in an interesting time, but even with the challenges, we have people at the table that are advocates for maternal health. When you look at the fact that we have a democratically controlled White House, we have the Congress, we have the Senate. The fact that we have who will now be our forever Vice President, Kamala Harris, who was a champion of maternal health while she served in the Senate. She is one of the sponsors of the Momnibus bill. We really have the ability to make significant change because we have more and more individuals that are at the table really concerned about the issue. And, believe it or not, I know the news never talks about this, but Democrats and Republicans, we actually do speak to each other. And, we actually work together sometimes. I mean, not on all issues, but issues around maternal health and, families and babies are, an issue that we align around. There are so many of my Republican colleagues up in Harrisburg today that have introduced legislation around postpartum depression or expanding the maternal health ecosystem to add, doulas in the workforce as well, licensing them, as well as expanding the spectrum of midwifery. So you have a lot of people coalescing around this issue because they recognize that we are worse than some third world countries when it comes to providing healthcare to birthing people. I say all that to say that now is our time to just elevate our voice. Now is the time to ask every elected official, what are you doing to protect birthing people? What policies are you adopting? To the point that you made, Sarah, when you look at a society's budget, it speaks to what their priorities are. So it's like how Governor Wolf, how is our budget reflective of our priorities around maternal health issues? So I think, again, just elevating your voice in that way. And, because we have 3 bites at the apple, I like to always say, whether that is going through the legislative process, which, can be difficult at times, but there's still, a leveraging opportunity. Again, a Republican is the one that ushered legislation to create Pennsylvania's Maternal Mortality Review Committee. So again, there is an appetite, or whether that is through some policy shifts, anything that our governor can do to shift policy to better protect our communities is an opportunity as well. And last but not least is our budget. And these are my questions to every single department. With our rates going in the wrong direction, with, it just being COVID-19, just adding an additional layer and an additional pressures on our families. How is this budget reflecting, the prioritizing families and maternal health? So I think, just keep your voice going. Again, I truly believe this is our time right now to move the needle on a lot of issues. So that's what I would say to the community.
Salima, do you have anything you'd add?
I wrote down when she said, elevate our voice. And that is so important. And my mind was going to, if I could quickly say anything to everyone out there, is to become the walking billboard. It doesn't cost you anything to spread the word. To spread the word to mothers, to women who need the services. Talk about it. Follow the pages. Follow Representative Cephas. Follow District 1199C. Follow MCC. Follow She Can Win. And become a walking billboard. Have these groups, and this is just a small handful of groups that are out there, educate yourself so that you can now provide access to people who need it, or you can bring people in so they have a better understanding of why it's important to donate, to fundraise, to volunteer, to listen up. If a Representative Cephas is letting you know something, if there's a class going on for seniors, or, we need to become these walking billboards. And that's what I want to leave with all of us today, is that it takes one seed to plant a forest, one. And each one of us today can become that seed. So thank you again. Thank you for your time. And again, I am so inspired and so blessed to be here.
Thank you. Thank you, Salima. Thank you, Representative Cephas. It looks like we are about out of time, but I really appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions today and to join me in this thoughtful discussion. I would sort of echo your sentiments, both of your sentiments, for all of us. Let's keep talking. Let's keep in touch, because continued conversation, elevating voices, it precipitates action. And advocacy is a critical way to ensure that our families in this region have access to healthcare and the support services, not only that they need, but they deserve. And so thank you again for joining me today. And now I would like to welcome back our host, Tamala Edwards. See you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great job, ladies. We so appreciated that. First of all, I want to say congratulations there to Representative Cephas, your advocacy on the part of women and families and your dedication. We could hear it in what you had to say, and it's clear why you are this year's honoree. And what a wonderful conversation between the three of you. The things I wrote down and took away: elevate our voices, become the walking billboard, and ask to see the budget. Then you'll really know what somebody's priorities are. Now, we want to take a few minutes to show you exactly what's happening at MCC. As you know, over the last year, traditional home visits, we couldn't do those. So now it's transitioned to virtual home visiting. And so you might wonder, what does that look like? Well, thanks to some advocates, Ketty and Shannon, and an MCC client, Adam, you're going to get a look inside.
All right, good morning, good morning.
Hello, hello. Good
Hi,
morning.
Georgie.
Don't you want to say hi to Miss Patty and Miss Shannon?
Hi,
Hey.
George.
Hey, say hi.
So we had, last week we worked on, this is the way we wash our hands, right?
Yes.
And we're still in the same line.
This is the way we comb our hair, comb our hair, comb our hair. This is the way we comb our hair early in the morning. Comb, 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 comb. Comb, comb, comb.
The good thing is we all together. So this is the hard time to find, you know, but the other part, like we are, yeah, we have to, you know, like learn.
Yes.
It's day by day, you know, especially we have a new baby and for his development and everything. So it's like another new world for us.
Yes.
Yeah, but until now, I think we're still doing good, right, Miss Patty?
Yeah, we're still doing good. We're still doing good.
Yeah.
We just present it to you and show you ideas.
Yeah,
But
and
literally
that
you
is
guys.
very helpful because, like, even though this is the third baby, but I still don't know what to do with it.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah.
That's so true. It's a learning experience for all of us, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Right, Georgie? Right. Mwah. Yeah, you see your friend now. You see your friend. Yeah. They're talking. Oh, that is so cute. Yes.
Both reached for each other at the same time.
I know. So it's all good. Thank you so much for today.
Oh my goodness, what a couple of cutie patooties, from combing his hair to hugging his daddy to waving at his friend. If that doesn't make you even more committed to this organization and the good work that they do. I don't know what will. And we want to thank the advocates and the teachers you saw in action, how they are accessing different resources and figuring out how to make it work. And as Adam said in the video, it doesn't matter if it's your first or your third, you know that you continue to need the help with two. I know that because it feels as though each one, whatever the first one didn't do to make you crazy, the second one shows up to do it. So you're always looking for some new ways to figure it out. And MCC is here for so many families with that. Now, to learn more about how you can help MCC continue to provide for children and parents with home visiting services, I'm now going to introduce Deanna Gaylor, who's the Director of Development, and Angie Bellin, an MCC advocate. Ladies, take it away.
Pamela, thank you so much. And before Angie and I get going, I just have to say that Tamala has been with us for 5 years now. This is the 5th Celebrating Mothers that she has hosted. She does a phenomenal job. We don't ever want to lose her, right, Angie?
Yes, it is. Good morning. Buenos dias.
Beautiful, beautiful. So like Tamala said, my name is Deanna Gaylor, and I'm the Director of Development over at MCC. Angie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role?
Well, my name is Angie Bellum. I am a Family and Community Engagement Associate at Maternity Care Coalition. I have been in the social services for 25 years now in the field. I came from Cuba 30 years ago with my husband and my daughter, and here we are celebrating today all together.
That's right, here you are. And your daughter, Maria, is also on the MCC team in our research and evaluation department. So that's just incredible. Now, Angie, we're showing a photo here that we showed in our annual report in December of 2020. What's going on here?
Well, as we mentioned before, as be part of the initiative of MCC to do workshops with the parents, being virtual was a challenge. With the family think about what are we going to do now that Angie's not coming? What happened with the advocates that are not coming today? So we create these workshops to help the children to explore the curiosity and the parents to keep engaged. Just exploring imagination, communication skills. So storytelling was a resource that helps also to educate parents, empower the mothers, and shows them that to motivate, influence, teach, and inspire the children.
Amazing. So that Pete the Cat storytelling was kind of an extension of the video that Ketty and Shannon were in of what their virtual home visit looks like.
Definitely,
right?
Definitely. Yes.
Amazing. Now, I know it's been such a year for all of us, absolutely all of us, but especially our clients. And so we're here today to raise awareness and to raise funds for the work that we do. So that's what Angie and I are going to turn everybody's attention to right now. So I need to share my screen, which is a new skill I have. And on your screen right now, everyone should be able to see our progress towards our Celebrating Mothers goal. Now, the Celebrating Mothers event, which is happening today, kicks off a season of Celebrating Mothers, which concludes at Mother's Day every year. So we have a goal of $100,000. And already, as of this morning, we are at $51,480. Now, I have to say, council member for the city of Philadelphia, Kathy Richardson, made a gift a couple of minutes ago. And she did that, I'm sure, by either clicking the Donate Now button in your browser or by using your cell phone and texting MCC to 44321. Now, if you text MCC to 44321 right now, your name will show up here in our donation progress bar. Angie, can you tell me, during this pandemic, what are a few of the things that our families have needed, because that will show donors where their gifts are going?
Well, we all know that we were forced to switch into a visual visit as a model during the COVID. So we were all worried that the social system bring novel for us and the population that we serve may result either losing clients or family even disengaged. But thanks to the funders that provide the tablets to MCC and the internet connection, those families continue engaged and we provide a home visit, visual home visit for them. So we didn't experience any interruption of the services, and there was no gap in our delivery capacity. We just managed to recruit new clients thanks to MCC ability to provide the clients with the technology and to maintain the communication. So we have to have applause to all those founders, to our executive director, our leadership, all those who support MCC and advocates in this such event. And this is responsibility that we have, like the Representative Sifa said, protect the maternal health issues. And as Ms. Marianne mentioned before, having 450 tablets or plus is something that we have to celebrate and continue asking for. Please support. We are here to do a good job to respond to the community.
Absolutely, Angie, absolutely. And I do have to say, this is just a natural thing with Zoom, but we as speakers are a little bit ahead of what you all as attendees are seeing. So Angie, it's time for us to get those maracas and those thank you hearts out. Already.
Yes.
Donations from Brittany Welding, from Mary Weir, from Iola Harper, and Caroline Chung. All of you are so, so incredible. And just as a reminder, the donations that we bring in here today are general operating gifts. And so with that general operating funds, Maternity Care Coalition has the flexibility that we need to be able to, for example, buy a tablet for a family, which they can then use to connect to ESL, English as a Second Language classes. We're seeing that our families are using the tablets that we provide to them for their school-age children in the home to go to virtual school classes. We're seeing families take new classes at the community college. We're seeing these tablets and this data being used in so many different ways. I see it. Let's get the maracas out some more. We see Nikki. We're over $52,000, which is just so incredible. We have some of the most loyal supporters at Maternity Care Coalition that I have ever known, especially back in March, back in April, when this thing was just starting to go and it was a Mother's Day season. So many of you showed up and showed your support, and it was so, so incredible. Rhonda Credo, Sharon Petrosky, you both are amazing, amazing, amazing. There are two other things we're talking about today in terms of where your funding goes, not only with the tablets, but we're talking about virtual doula support. And I saw in the chat during this event, that was a big deal. A doula is somebody who helps through the birthing process. It can be prenatal, it can be perinatal, and postpartum. And our doulas right now, MCC has a contracted doula pool where those doulas are supporting in person and virtually. And we also have fully fledged MCC team members who are supporting virtually as well. So there's so many good things going on. Angie, do you want to share anything about what your families are facing right now?
Well, now our families, since we still providing services and they are so engaged in home visitors, the families, for example, they are receiving ESL classes. They have connected to resources in the community. We still providing the milestone evaluations, activities. They receive a lot of resources, foods in our community that we're delivering. Mothers are doing research for school, back to school. So, I mean, we cannot be more than excited and grateful to have this kind of support that continue. We are not interrupting services. We're still increasing those services.
Absolutely. We've been right there for our families at every turn. And that's been possible because our donors and our supporters have been right there for us too. Angie, I think that we'll give it a couple more minutes, but I just want to remind everyone that there's that donate button in your browser, or if you want to use your cell phone, you can text MCC to 44321. Angie, let's give everybody our hearts on our maracas.
Yes.
We'll keep it going. We'll keep it going. And Angie, it's time for me to now share our Mother's Day cards. Do you want to stay with me?
I want to see all those cards.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I'm so curious about to see how it looks, and maybe someone can buy for me, no?
Oh, I think I'll be sending you a couple of Mother's Day cards.
Okay.
So this is a very, very special year. Like I said, it's been hard for us. Last year, we didn't actually get the chance to send physical Mother's Day cards. We had to only do e-cards. So this year, we wanted to make sure that mothers far and wide would be celebrated and mother figures would be celebrated in as many ways as possible. So this year, we don't just have one, we don't just have two, we have three
Yes.
Mother's Day card
Yes.
designs. Here they are. These are stunning. We contracted a local Philadelphia-based artist, Ellen Trung. She's from the University of the Arts, and she put all three of these together. She used our color palette and our logo, and the rest was her creativity. Angie, what do you think of these?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's kind of like, listen, how about you give me those three?
Yes.
Don't make me pick. I want all of them.
I think we'll send you one of each. I think my mom is tuned in from Michigan too. I better send her one of each, right?
So whoever is volunteer, I want those three, please. They're beautiful.
And I think your daughter's listening. I think she is. So just as a reminder to everybody, all of our supporters, if you make a gift of any amount from the event during the day today and leading up all the way through Mother's Day, we will be in touch with you for you to send as many Mother's Day cards as you want. A gift, it could be $5, it could be $5,000. However you can support us this year, it goes a really long way. So we will be in touch with those Mother's Day card designs, won't we, Angie?
Yes, please. And just think about how important is the maternal health, our children, our community. So please, please donate.
Absolutely, Angie. Well, thank you so much, Angie, for joining me. If you can go ahead and turn your video off, I get to introduce a very
Thank you. Good day.
Thank you, Angie. Now it's my privilege to introduce, as we're in this final stretch, someone to close the program who is a near and dear friend to MCC. Julia Roosh has been with us for a couple of years now. She's the co-chair of the Celebrating Mothers event and campaign, joining Salima this year. Julia is also a board member with us, and she is the Director of National Strategic Partnerships for Community Impact at Comcast. Julia came to us because she'll tell you more. I don't want to steal your thunder. Julia's here. We love to have her. Julia, take it away.
Thank you so much, Deanna, for that introduction. And thank you to each and every one of you who just pledged your donation. We are so grateful. As Deanna and Angie mentioned, if you're still interested in donating, you can find a Donate Now button on the bottom left side of your screen. And this is actually the first time that I'm getting to see these Mother's Day card designs. And I have to say, I totally agree, Angie. I need one of each of them too. They're just beautiful. As you have learned here today, every donation, no matter the size, contributes to the vital work that MCC is doing every day. We are incredibly grateful for anything, your time, your talent, your treasure that you can give. I became involved with MCC a few years ago when a mutual friend introduced me to Mary Ann. Now I am incredibly honored to serve on the board of directors, and this is my second year co-chairing this event. When I decided to get involved because of my own experience as a mom, while I decided to get involved, perhaps this was destined from the beginning of my life. My mom, who's out there somewhere like your mom, Deanna, in this virtual world watching right now, believes so much in the power of supporting pregnant women. She traveled from Westchester to Wynwood for all of her prenatal appointments and to give birth to my sister Maddie and me at Lankenau, because at that time, it was one of the only hospitals in the Philadelphia area with a midwife program. In fact, she named me after my midwife. I'm now the proud mom of twin boys, Henry and Charlie, who are healthy and rambunctious 9-year-olds, but their entry into the world was not so easy. They were preemies and spent a month in the NICU at HUP. I've met families there who didn't have the prenatal care or just were not being able to take their babies home with the same support that I was so privileged to have. I know I had to find a way to help families, and I am so thrilled to have found MCC. MCC is deeply rooted in our region's communities, and its work is essential. You've heard that today. The MCC team is full of doulas who are helping to bring new babies into the world, advocates who are on the other end of the phone, offering heartfelt guidance and support. They are teachers helping parents learn and play alongside their babies. Many of MCC's team members are also parents themselves. And when I reflect on this year, and for so many of us, our last time together in a large group was at this event last year, I think about what it's meant to be a parent. And honestly, there's been a lot of hard this year as a parent. The hardest part for me personally has been keeping my kids away from their loving extended family. We have this wonderful network of cousins and aunts and uncles, their grandparents, and I know I'm not alone. We are cut off from the people we lean on when things are tough. And for so many, this pandemic has been more than just tough, it's been devastating. Families, not only in our region, but in our world, are out of work, face barriers to accessing healthcare and childcare, and on top of that, isolation. And MCC provides connection that today is more needed than ever. At an internal town hall last week, the Celebrating Mothers team asked the entire MCC staff to give one piece of advice that they would are sharing with clients and other parents right now. Here's just a few of those. Give yourself grace. Things are hard and we are all doing the best we can. Focus on the daily positives, no matter how small they may seem. Always remember to take care of yourself. And we all know that is so difficult right now with so much weight to carry every day, but it's just incredibly important to remember. And my personal favorite, and I'm working on this myself, is be gentle with yourself. It's okay to not be okay, and to honor what you feel and need as you navigate this pandemic. Every feeling is valid and serves a purpose. I know that every one of us will walk away from this session having learned something about MCC, about families in this region. But if the absolute only thing you do as a mother, as a father, as a friend, is take away from today is one of those pieces of wisdom, then this event was a success. Please continue to be good to yourselves, to be good to one another, and come what may, thanks for your support. MCC is going to continue to be here for families in Southeastern Pennsylvania like we have been for 41 years. Thank you all. We are so incredibly grateful for your support, and have a wonderful rest of your day.